So I welcome everyone to the New Gambia platform. Again, the panelists are here and they are familiar faces. I have from the screen on the right side of me, Ebrima Baldeh. Ebrima, can you just show hands?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ebrima, for joining. And beneath me, I have Alice. Alice, right? I got it now. Alice. Okay, from Germany. Ebrima is in New York. Alice is in Germany. And next to
Yeah.
Alice, on the right side is Sam Ceesay, Indiana, United States. So we
Hello.
kind of have in United Nation here, kind of countries, representation
That's
of
That's
different
right.
countries. So I think that is a good deal here. Today we're gonna be discussing about the cabinet reaction to the two-term limit in the Constitution, and I think the president is considering or has considered to even contact some lawyers to look into the draft, and he is gonna submit it to the parliament. We don't know when, but we have to follow through with that. But what we know is that he cannot make any changes to the constitution, the one drafted by CRC. So it is very important for us, as panelists here to discuss what we think that piece of action means and what it is that that we have to be looking for in order to have a democracy that we've been looking for quite a while. Uh, I'm pretty sure the CRRC was a representation of everyone. They have deeply traveled and then they also had connected to make sure that they get the information that the Gambian people want. So we have to be very careful, especially the National Assembly, who had the mandate to either you know object some of the CRRC recommendations that they get from the public, or they can add some things there. But what we also know about this whole constitution is that diaspora hasn't been represented well, especially when it comes to dual citizenship holding higher offices, which is very unfair. Um, Diaspora has played a very important role to uproot dictatorship. Diaspora has played very important role towards the GDP of the Gambia. So if you want to alienate them from such an opportunity to serve their country, uh, that could probably backfire, or it could be a kind of like a sign of unappreciation on the part of the diasporans. So I think the National Assembly, we should contact our National Assembly members to really look into this, especially when it comes to running offices for dual citizenship and voting rights for people. So that's another area that our panelists should look at. And our final segment of this show would be the budget items. These items of COVID-19, as Dr. Samate has explained on the floor of uh, the parliament, we have seen a lot of people name being appearing many times of those who have been allocated funds that never really exist. So the massive corruption that he faced, he actually demonstrated that. He showed that during the delivery at the National Assembly. So I have a video of that. If we have time, I can play that and you guys can see how much, like trouble that he's going through just to make sure that transparency and accountability is conducted. So without wasting any time, I'm just introducing what our specification will be this in discussion. We will have to make sure that if our audience can join us, by calling my WhatsApp number. That would be great. That would be 917-974-1095. I will put it on the show so that folks can call and then give their opinions. So we'll be monitoring that. But overall, we're going to be discussing this. Let's make it as brief as possible. We are starting now at 11:45. So it's an hour or so. And let's also give each other time to answer questions. So I really, really thank you guys for coming. So the first topic would be the cabinet's, cabinet's intake. I mean, cabinet's opinion about the time limits. They're not definitely happy with it. Who's coming? Who wanna come first?
Alex?
He told me to go first, so I will. Thanks, Alice. Well, folks, thank you all, and I'm Sam Ceesay. I like to start the topic because this topic is very important to all of us because when it comes to Constitution, that's the law that governs our whole country. So we need to make sure that it's done for the people, not for an individual. From recently what I heard from the cabinet saying that the Constitution discriminates the president, I think that's I can't even think of a word to call that, because it's really very strange. It's very strange for the cabinet to say that, and I can see the reason why they want to say that, because one is for themselves, for their own pocket, knowing that if we change president, they will also change, most likely. At least 90% of them will be gone. So, and they want to hold on to what they are having right now. That'll be more beneficial for them to say, yep, this discriminates the president. Let's go ahead and fight for this so they can change it, so the president can stay in here, so that we can stay in here longer. But the way I look at that is really not fair. It's for an individual. I will give an example. An example is if our National Assembly members pass a law that says every carpenter in the Gambia will have to have certification, an official certification, before they can produce anything and sell it in the Gambia. That law protects everyone. There's a reason for that. The reason will be is Gambia will have very quality products from certified carpenters, not just any Tom and Dick and Harry that comes and start making a workshop and produce things for people that may not last long. Okay, so that law protects everyone. There would be some, maybe one carpenter can come out and say, well, that's not fair for me because for the past years, it's not been a law. Why is it a law now? Because that means now I can't be in business. Well, guess what? In the past, the way we were operating was not good because we were having poor quality products. That's why they changed this, to make things better for the majority of the Gambians. So if the president says that law discriminates him, he's looking after himself, because he is looking back at President Jawara has served 30 years. Jem has served 22 years. He also wants to serve more. Well, the Constitution is the Constitution, is our law. We want to improve. We don't want to go backward. We want to improve things by making changes that will make lives better for everyone, not just for the president. So it makes sense to make that change and to include, if we say in 2 terms, I mean, if you look at most countries in the world now are on term limits. Even the best president of the United States of America, all the best presidents, or the greatest presidents of America, they can only serve 2 terms. Unfortunately, we have a bad track record of administrations in our country, with people doing all kinds of things, with a lot of corruption there. If we don't go to the 2 term and keep changing, we will be 100 years behind time. That's what's going to happen. And this is part of the problem why our country is not where it's supposed to be today. If you look at our country, Gambia and Singapore and Maldives, joined the United Nations at the same time, the same year. So look at all those countries. Look at Singapore, where they are today, and where Gambia is. We're 50 years behind them, you know? So just like that. So it's fair to make changes that will benefit the country. And I fully support the 2-term limit. And that should include this 5 years the president is serving. Now, if the president had agreed to the coalition agreement and stepped down in 3 years, after 3 years, and then form his own party, if he was able to do that and join, then we can say, well, the 3 year didn't count because the Constitution said 5 years. But he's staying for 5 years, so that should count. That really should count as his first time. And if he runs for elections next year in 2021 and wins, that's his last term. That's it. He cannot go any further. And that's where I'll stop.
Thank you very much for that insight. So you are saying that 2017, that's what President's terms is, because he served more than the 3 years that he promised. So he went for a full term, then that must count. Either he wins 2021 or he doesn't win.
Yep, that's right. That's your term. He's serving 5 years now, so that should be.
So what do you Alice, before Sam, before we go any further, because I like to be fair here. Now the fact that the Constitution is getting backdated, that is something that some scholars would say. Why would you backdate something and then expect expect the president to accept that, because the Constitution hasn't been ready until now, so this 5 years wouldn't count. What would you say to that argument?
Well, what I would say, like I said, I brought it up earlier. If the president has had agreed to serve 3 years and step down, 5 years would not have counted. But if he serves 5 years, then that's a term. That's in line with the current Constitution. So if a new law comes, there's nothing like, in my eyes, there's nothing like backdating. They are making the law as whoever serves 2 5-year terms, that's it. You cannot serve anymore. If he had served only 3 years, that's the way I look at that.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's go to Baldeh or Alas. Who's coming first?
Alex?
Okay, Mr. Thank you very much, Mr. Ceesay. You have said almost everything, but I give you right. In Wolof they used to say, "Kubuga akara nyemekani." So you can only accept the law.
That's right.
To be in that position. If not, you should not be in that position. I have nothing against Baro. It can be also another individual. But what you said, Mr. Ceesay, is the right thing. That's a problem in Africa. You are mentioning these countries. Everybody knows them. And the question is, why are we 50 years back? We have one problem, and we can only go forward when we change it. And changing it is our problem, because nobody is there to say, people, you have to change, because he himself is corrupt. So who is going to help us? Unless you have certain individuals in the Gambia who are very righteous and fear God and don't take any material thing as life and help the Gambians, not following their interests, but try to be truthful, That's why when I say I give a very big respect to Mr. Samate, people used to ask why, but just follow him. This man, I don't know whether he'll disappoint me, but I know people and I can say he's a very, very, even at the parliament, what he was saying, he did it, it's okay, with applause. But that is a job from the MPs. You understand what I mean? That should have been a job from the MPs, not from him, even as a minister. The Gambia should be responsible. Everybody in that parliament knows what is going on in the Gambia. They fight about all bills, you know. But what this man was saying should have been their everyday business. Then that will change Gambia because everybody knows how we are living there. You understand? But I would also not mind to say such thing because he knows what kind of country we are. And the people supporting him in the same thing. You know, as you said, they know that they are also living as Barrow is living. When he's no more there, they are also gone. So
right.
that means is how to call it? Everybody is following his interest. And this is what we have to dam in the Gambia to help us. We should not always follow our interests, you know, and forget what is happening to the others, you know. Here we're talking about the Gambia. We are not talking of Minister A, Minister B, or President Da on Da, because Barrow is today president, tomorrow you don't know he's going to be a president, you know. So it's just temporary there. Nobody is going to, but these problems, everybody is having it in Africa, our presidents, you know, before they will not even dare to be a president. That's why they say you can only miss something what you know. You understand what I mean? If you don't know something, you cannot miss it.
Right.
So before Barrow came, he was saying he's a businessman because he didn't know the Luxus. He's a businessman. After 3 years, he's going back, you know? So because he didn't know the Luxus. So now he knows. He's not ready to miss it. The ministers, the same thing. So there's always the danger. So sometimes they behave this way when they are there, they don't want to leave anymore. But to be true, what Mr. Ceesay said, the 3 years they said, he said no, he's going to do full term 5 years. So that means this is also going to be counted. We cannot go to 21 and say the 5 years didn't count, and then we have to start from fresh. Then what would 3 years Jotna say in this case? It's just a question. So what are the people from 3 years Jotna going to say? So
Exactly.
we have to be fair to ourselves. We have to be fair to ourselves, you know, without being a partisan to any party or something like that. I know that it's not an easy thing, you know. So the other thing is I support and how to call it? I support the parliament. Also their reaction these days, you know. They did a wonderful job. It's for the Gambians that they are standing for the Gambians there, you know. And the executive should also be ready to work with them. That's my advice, you know. And because they are doing it for the whole Gambia. That's what they have to think. They have to work together because it's for the Gambia, not for them. You know, having this thinking, I think they are going to communicate and try to push everything together because they used to say, together we move a mountain, but when we depart and separate them, we are dust. You understand? So maybe that's what is holding us still 50 years back from others. I don't know. Because we need this unity, you know. To be a party different from somebody doesn't mean that that somebody is your enemy, you know. Then here comes the problems of is democracy, and that is also our weakness. We don't know it. I mean, many people don't know it. Say people with 22 years age now, they don't know it because they are born in dictatorship and they grow in dictatorship. So where should they know? You know. So the grown-ups, maybe they know Jawara time that was democracy. They can try to help the kids or the young people and bring them by what is democracy. You see, the whole politics we have is only insulting. A insult B, B insult back. That is not democracy, and that's not what we're talking about. Democracy and election or parties. You know, here in Europe, you will have a party. You will have a man and woman with family. Election day, the man will go and vote for this party, and the woman is going to vote for this party, and they come and have their life together, and life goes as normal. That is democracy. And then, compared to Gambia, we are 100 miles away. Till we understand what is democracy and constitution and all these things, I know it will take us time because we are just fresh in democracy, you can say, So many people, when Mr. Ceesay is in another party, so Mr. Ceesay, I always have to insult Mr. Ceesay. He's a bad man. He's an enemy. In certain compounds in Gambia, they'll even throw you away because you are not in the party. So they even neglect the fact that it's a family business and the other one is a party business. These are things we have to first understand. Or they say, how to call it? It's freedom of speech. So that means I can say what I want. They are two different things. I have the freedom of speech to say what I want. The democracy and the constitution should guide my words. You understand?
Right.
So I also not say it's freedom of speech, then I insult anybody I meet. These are things we need to understand and know that we are different. Some people like Benachin, some people like Super, So they are different dishes, I cannot force you to like what I like. And that is our Gambian problem too. You understand?
Yeah.
People are individuals, and everybody is having his own mind, his own decision, his own likes. You cannot force anybody, And that is another problem also for our politics because we used to buy the votes, you can say. That's why people don't even know their voting rights in Gambia, which is also a big problem for our democracy because of the high rate of the illiteracy, I could say. And most of them don't even know what is democracy because you can see it by the elections. If I'm making a big sabar, I win. Simple, So these are the things we need to understand first. And then they'll vote for that person. After 2 weeks, they start to insult him. No, it's not his fault, but our fault. We should think twice. If I vote this person, he's going to be 5 years there. So do I have the hope that when this person leaves the country, he's going to make me also okay or not? Not thinking he gave me bag of rice yesterday or he gave me $2, $10 yesterday, and forget all your problems, what you've been going through the whole years, that doesn't help you. And these are also things to be rectified in our society to go forward. That's it. I can give Baldeh.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Alas, for that. Now, Baldeh, Alas just mentioned one thing. We just have to understand that the president is getting this support because the supporters don't want to go. I mean, they don't want to leave the place. I mean, the ministry positions they are holding now. So of course they will have to support it for their individual interests. So I think that was one addition that Baldeh, Alas added to Sam's points. So let's see what Baldeh is gonna give us. Welcome, Baldeh.
Thank you very much, Sawaneh, and the New Gambia platform followers for the invitation that you have once again extended to me. Reassuring to follow the very interesting debates or reflections last night organized by Paradise TV, Haruna Drame. I was quite impressed with the level of participation and intellectual discourse that was really expounded by the various panelists who were invited to actually throw their weight or to reflect on this important draft constitution, which has now generated a lot of concern from across the political divide, in the Gambia and in the diaspora, especially because remember this draft constitution is supposed to be is supposed to usher the new Gambia or the so-called new Gambia or the Third Republic. And the Yaya Jammeh constitution, like some would say, the 1997 constitution was not reflective of the wishes and aspirations of Gambian people, so to speak. And it was very much quite slanted, towards Yaya Jammeh and very draconian, especially from the perspective of the media person. I know that that constitution was very draconian in terms of media and freedom of expression, and still now those draconian laws are still there. There's nothing that will stop this government from using them, even though they are proclaiming that there is freedom of press, and the media. But until this constitution is passed, we are still where we are in terms of the democratic dispensation with the Jammeh laws. So coming to the issue you're asking about President Barrow's interest, obviously Barrow, no one will shot himself or herself on in the leg, in the sense that you said earlier that kubuga akara na nyamenkai. So this is something that, yeah, Barrow will not actually like. Power is sweet. It is kind of an intoxicant. So once you are there, the trappings of power is something that will actually intoxicate you to an extent that years becomes 1 year or 6 months. 5 years is so short, because you remember 2016, now we are going into election. Can you imagine 2021, we have to go for election by the grace of God? So if you are saying that if the draft constitution is stipulating that Barrow's rule would have to be backdated from 2017 to 2021, it is actually not something that will sit down quite well with him. Let's borrow a leaf from our neighbor Senegal. Senegal, the constitution when it was passed, I stand to be corrected, it wasn't backdated. So in a nutshell, what the president would like to see, if all goes well with him, is for the 5 years to be like transitional, that he was the president, but kind of, remember, I was trying to put together a package, to transition to the next level. Now, in transitioning to the next level, my first term begins 2021. And now that will give him the chance, probably, who knows, to rule the country for 15 years. Because with the 2-term limit, what he's going to enjoy is after 2021, he will go for election. And then that will mean he will rule for the 2-term plus the 5 years, meaning 15 years. That may probably, I don't want to preempt, but from what we are gathering, from our various sources or from the mainstream media in the Gambia, is tilting towards the fact that those interest areas are things that he would really want to safeguard. And of course, his cabinet and members of the executive, a lot of them would be interested to see that Barrow's interest is protected, because who knows, when he transitions to the next level, he is going to go with them. So when, for instance, he goes down, in the ditch, they are going down along with him. The point of concern now, Sawaneh, for me, is beyond 2021. Oh, sorry, before 2021. Let's say this draft constitution is tabled to Parliament, and then we go into a referendum. The political equation now is the electorate are the people who are going to decide whether this is the constitution that they want, but it's not a question of maybe the elites, or it's not a question of an interest group that will say this constitution will pass. There's no changes that he's going to make. Of course, he may have some, differences in terms of how certain things are put there, because, like I said, in the beginning, no one would want him to shoot himself or herself, on the leg. So, as a matter of fact, it's only a madman who will do that. But like the point I'm trying to emphasize here is, it is only the Gambian people or the electorate who will decide in a referendum that this is the constitution that they want. This is the kind of Gambia that they want. And now, the average Gambian, how many people apart from the elites, how many people understand this document thoroughly? Yes, it's true, the CRC went around the country and tried to sell the ideas, to the people. but the nitty-gritties of this constitution, like trying to emphasize. So if the electorate decide that this is not the constitution they want, we are going back to the drawing board again to come out with something that is acceptable to the Gambian people. So this is why I'll stop and then allow you, Sawaneh, to also have your take on it.
Yes. So thank you very much about that. Now Baldeh added something important, that is, after all said and done, Barrow is looking at his interest to stay in power as long as possible, since he beats the 3 years, of course, which is definitely a flaw to the whole Gambian community, and it's a flaw to the coalition leaders, because that was the worst thing expected of them, not able to hold Barrow accountable to serve only 3 years. After they betray one another, now Barrow has the right to go to 5 years, which is a full constitutional mandate. So that being said, now President Barrow want more, it looks like, because if he doesn't want more, he wouldn't have even worried about 2 times presidency. But sometimes when you want more, you lose all, and this is what I would remind any person, including the president himself. So
Mr. Sawaneh.
it's only Alas. What happened? Can you hear me?
No, I just wanted to contribute something to you. Just something.
Okay. So what I wanna what we wanna highlight here
when
is,
we say now is okay.
yeah, what we wanna highlight here is that in as much as it's important for the president's interest to be supported by the cabinet, that's great. The citizen, we need to consider the bigger picture. What we're trying to eliminate is this constitution is to rectify the wrongs that were done in the past, and one of the wrongs were overstaying in the power that caused Jammeh to rule 22 years. That was one of the reasons, and also to create reform in a way that citizens can be accountable, public officers can be accountable. That's why the constitution is so bulky. So that being said, I think having to linger on this to the point that election time comes and the parliament hasn't come to a point to enact this, going back and forth, going to court, trying to see whether this piece of the constitution will be divided or be changed to the wills of the cabinet and the president. This is gonna really hurt the Gambian people. We shouldn't have the luxury to spend more time on this again. People have spoken. The CRC went in everywhere. They came to US here. We host them here. People have contributed, and everybody has agreed no man should stay 2 terms. Okay, starting from when? Since we got the new Gambia. So having to backdate the constitution would have some argument, but in this particular case it's different because we're trying to set the record straight. The first agreement has been violated and extended to 5 years. Okay, we as a nation, we came together and support that so we can have peace. Now, if the citizens say that they want their presidents to serve only 10 years, nothing more, I think, if we want to linger that, especially Dr. Ceesay said this, we don't have much time because having to go back and then they have to put it to a referendum, and then the election chair, the election commissioner will have to also be notified and make sure that people have time to vote. I mean, it's gonna drag, and 2021 is just right here. So I want the panelists to really look into this and see what is their final take on this, whether for the president's term of this 5 years to be included, or it's to start 2017. That's the take that we want to have, so our viewers can also weigh in. So we'll have time for our viewers to call 917-974-1095 So we can hear from you, and our panelists will be able to answer your question. You can call that WhatsApp number. So Alice, go ahead quickly.
Yeah, I just wanted to contribute something to what you said. You know, my fear is, or as I used to say, they can decide something good for them today and bad for them tomorrow. Because once we put that, say, more than 2 terms, and we have another person, a dictator in the country, without expecting, that's the time we'll be very interested to go for 2 terms. You understand? Right now, people enjoying will even tell you 5 terms because it's for their, you understand what I mean? The whole thing can change, and we have a dictator in the country, and we cannot put him away because they already changed the term limit. So they have to be very careful, not only following their interests, but of the nation. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, you know, Sawaneh, let me come in here. You see, to allay your fears or the fears of the Gambian people, the good thing about the CRC or the draft constitution is that the issue of term limit is explicit there. I mean, there is no doubt about it. There is no ambiguity about it. It's unlike the 1997 constitution, you know, when the issue of term limit was silent. That is why as long as the president was winning, he was all the time there. So he could have been there, who knows, for 50 years. But with this constitution, that one is assured. The point of concern for President Barrow and the government and his supporters in the system is the fact that it's backdated, that 2017 to 2021 is is considered his first term, meaning he is only going to be privileged if he's lucky. If he survived 2021, that's going to be his last term. Now, yeah,
it's not their favor.
Yeah, so it's like it is too short for him in his but now it remains to be seen how is that going to be, because it's ultimately, I mean, it is not something that is unique or peculiar to Barrow alone. We know Nigeria, Obasanjo had that problem, the third term issue. I mean, someone, if you are following current affairs, Obasanjo had a problem.
It's Africa.
Obasanjo was hell-bent on having his third term. It didn't go down well.
I would be happy when African presidents just be fair to the people and just say, I'll rule for 3 years and that's it.
Yeah,
you know?
that's now
just to be fair. To be fair to the people.
So if you look at our next door neighbors, Senegal, Macky Sall is enjoying his 2 term, even though that's his final term. But at least he enjoys his 2 term limit to the fullest, because he came to power in 2012. Now at the end of his current term, he's going to go back to his home and retire from politics or engage in other gainful activities.
Likewise, America.
Yeah, I mean, yes. So I'm drawing example from our closest neighbors before even coming to it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. So now everybody in this panel seems to agree that the president's terms to start 2017. That's a
Not
correct
everybody.
statement.
What do you mean by everybody agreeing that?
No, I'm asking if everybody agrees that what the argument is, that the cabinet is saying that they are not happy with that. But is everybody agreeing that? Definitely. Gambian people have spoken. The President Barrow violated the agreement, the coalition agreement. He went for the 5 years. That 5 years should count as this drafted constitution is concerned. Is this that what the Gambian people are for, and should this stand? Because it's gonna be coming to this point. It's gonna go to the courts if we're not careful, because I'm pretty sure the ambition of the cabinet members, even if President Barrow agrees to go to serve the people well, the ministers from the past regime who are used to corruptions and other kind of malpractices would wanna keep their grip on power to make sure that they enjoy more and more time in office. So this is a matter of the Gambian citizen, our unborn children, the Gambian future against the elite who have the power and could and influence undermine the decision made by the Gambian people. So that's why this is very crucial, because
Sawaneh, I don't.
if we don't agree on here, what is going to happen is the nation will be, crying for injustice, because this CRC, the people there, I know some of them, they are very credible. They did their work right. Okay, they stood for their country and then they delivered. If we are not careful, what is going to happen is there will be grief if people's rights are not being observed. So that's why it's very important for every party to look into this. That's why we bring this to debate it here, so that the citizen can have a fair share. We don't want to be biased to the cabinet or the president, but we don't also want to be biased to the citizens. Let's give our, straightforward thought, and our audience will pick from that, and we move forward. Let's not be on the fence here. Do you believe in your heart that this constitution, based on circumstances, are actually a true representation of Gambian people, that the two terms should start 2017? If you believe that, you have your reason of it, and then we conclude. What do you think?
Sam.
I will go.
Yeah.
I believe in it, and part of the reason is, again, in Gambia we need to change the way we're running our country for us to look like other countries that are successful and developed. If we look back in history, for one person to be in power more than 2 terms has not been a good thing for us. There's a lot of things that come with it. Even if it's not just the president, it's the people that work with the president that really exploits our country. And if the president, being the one on top as a leader, don't know how to handle that and take care of the problem and take the leadership role and take care of the problem, it's going to continue. And the biggest thing is corruption. That's why we cannot move forward. So to make long story short, in my opinion, this was a catch-22 for Barrow. When I say catch-22, you have 2 twos. Which 2 are you going to catch? If you catch this 2, you're going to lose this one. If you catch this one, then you're going to lose that one. So that's the way it comes with the 3 years transitional period. If he knew, if he respected the 3-year transitional period and stepped down, number one, that would have given him a lot of respect, not only from Gambia, but all over the world. That would have been great respect for someone to honor their own words and stick to the agreement and do exactly that. But once they get into the power, they don't want to give up. It's too good to be in that seat. They don't want to give up. So he wanted to continue and go to 5 years without realizing, going to 5 years now, you're saying you're sticking with the Constitution, because Constitution said 5 years. And we know, if you think back, the 3 years, part of the 3-year agreement was to make this a transitional period. And during that 3 years, the Constitution would have been reformed. They should have started that from day one, from the first year. If they had started that from the first year, today that would have been over. And this would have been gone through the parliament and then a referendum, and would have been voted at that point. But he decided he wanted to go for 5 years. And when you go for 5 years, that 5 years is the Constitution. It's gonna count. It should count.
Exactly.
And that's what we need to look at things from what's good for Gambia, not just one, not for one person. What's good for Gambia? What's good for Gambia is 2 terms, and that should count. If Barrow had set a great record, let's say an outstanding record, during these 3 years that he's been there, if he had done everything that he promised during the campaigns, bring the bag of rice down, do all the things that he said, reform the Constitution, reform the civil servants, and do all of that. Look at the healthcare in the Gambia. Do something about the healthcare. And if he had done a great job, an outstanding job, maybe this may not be a good debate. You know, his track record will take him. If he goes to election next year, 2021, he may win and stay in power. But now he's in a risk. He's in a very high risk of even losing in 2021. So my opinion is, yes, this 5 years should count. And 2021, he can run for elections one more time. If he wins, he stays. If he doesn't win, he's out. That's the way I look at it.
Now, Baldeh is coming, but I just want to illustrate one thing.
No, Sawaneh, I just wanted to throw a few things. Yeah, just to, I mean, as a point of reflection and also correction. You said earlier here about the issue of going to court. I mean, where do you think, why is that idea coming from about the issue of going to court? Because I think when the president or the executive make their notes, you know, with a view to trying to input certain changes, when it gets to the National Assembly for debate and reflection and ultimately where it's going to end up to a referendum, I don't see any point in going to court. If, for instance, if Gambian people say yes to it, that means that Gambian people have, the people have spoken. If the people say no to it, then we go back to the drawing board with a view to finding out what went wrong. How can we come back and normalize the situation? So I don't think there's an issue of any element of going to court for now. For if it is passed or it's not passed.
Yep.
Because if it is passed, what means is that if it is passed as it is right now with minor changes, ultimately Barrow will just start preparing that. Well, if I win, that's going to be the last time, and then maybe that he's going to maybe up the scales in a bit if he was actually slow on or if he was not delivering to the expectation of the people. But if he also is not able to sail through 2021, what it means is that the new leadership will also subject the very constitution to a referendum, just like what happened during Jammeh's time during the transition. So people have to vote for the constitution. And now it all for me, I think our debate here is important, and the debate that will follow is important because that will further enlighten the masses about the whole thing. But I think the bottom line here is about the electorate, the ordinary Gambians who are going to vote. Because whether we like it or not, if the constitution is passed, that is passed.
That's right.
Okay, so you mentioned one thing about the court. The reason why I mean I don't see a need for it, but I'm saying if nobody knows what's gonna happen, because I put myself in their shoes. Already, we're gonna come back to that, which is the COVID-19 funds. Already we see the mighty energy, the mighty corruption behind this administration's ministers and personnel, according to the delivery of Dr. Samate. We'll come to that. Now, you're telling me that these people will let this go easy. It's not happening. The cabinets and the executive, it's not happening. They will fight this. And this will take a toll out of our election. Okay, that's what I'm saying. There's a possibility this might even head to the court, because the National Assembly, you have to understand, our National Assembly has a fragile backbone. We have a lot of people there that are not well educated or well knowledgeable, I would say. I will not use the word educated. of even what is their power and the limit of their power. That's the National Assembly right there for you guys, if you don't know. And they are easily, they are also corruptible folks. You can corrupt them to do the wrong things. So I'm saying that the National Assembly shouldn't be our last hope, because I don't even believe that they have even done any incredible work so far.
Sawaneh,
Yeah.
Sawaneh, I beg to disagree. This National Assembly is actually better than the previous Assembly.
Better, but they are not still there. Better.
Yeah, I know. It's a work in progress. We will get there. But if you look at, I don't want us to how to call it, digress by.
But they even but they even have the right to even request that document and review it without president giving them. Yakumba Cheta was saying that. The National Assembly knows that, but they're not even doing that. And then now the time is taking. The president is the paper is the draft is with the president up to this time. He hasn't handed the executive office hasn't handed it to the parliament, but the parliament knows that they can even go and get the thing and then start reviewing it. What is the waste of time?
Yeah. No, I mean, the thing is, you have to understand one thing. I'm not holding brief for the National Assembly, but I think under these prevailing circumstances, the National Assembly is actually doing better, relatively better than the previous National Assembly.
I agree with you on that.
Yep.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah. Let's look at the issue of Sawaneh's viral, comments. That is now, circulating the social media.
Which we are commenting,
where on earth would you have seen the previous National Assembly, a minister coming out to virtually make very damning revelations about how frustrated he is, or how corruption is trying to underpin the development efforts of that the government is facing right now. So this National Assembly is really, measuring up. For me, they are living up to expectation in terms of giving a government a run for their money. Because look at the state of emergency now. Look at the debates. If you hear some of the, it's all is not well. Of course, a lot of them, they are yet to come to grips with the issues and their understanding of what their functions are. There is still room, for progress. If you know what I mean, what I'm trying to put across. So you look at the National Assembly vetting government. You look at the state of emergency. Look at them dragging their feet or trying to argue about why the state should have this state of emergency. 45 days. Rejecting, arguing. In the previous National Assembly, it was more of a rubber stamp. You understand what I mean? For the fact that push and pull between them, and then when the government try to introduce an idea, it is not something that is going to be overwhelmingly supported. They critique it, argue, and then Gambian people are becoming more and more conscientized about issues that are happening, and that is feeding into the National Assembly. A lot of them are also listening to the electorate. So we arguing here for the sake of accountability, transparency about the draft constitution, but it is now the ball is now in the court of the electorate to see that whether this draft constitution is going to be acceptable by them that is voting, or people are going to say no. We are not going to pass this. Let's look for something else.
Now, before we oversight this, diaspora's role, and this is something very important. Not because we are in diaspora right now, but we just have to be realistic. Without the diaspora, the Gambia would still be under dictatorship, because they have contributed immensely to bring change. Not only that, we have contributed to the GDP of the country. So what in the world would our Gambian citizen, and I'm going to go after our citizens for this, would have this CRRC consultation and propose, let's exclude diaspora completely, like we never knew them, and let They cannot even run for office if they are a dual citizenship. Not for presidents, not for ministers, not for anything. They are not important. And because of the diaspora's brain and enlightenment, just like what we're doing right now, because of many other contributions, financially, helping their families, that is even helping the ruling government. Because if we are not here, guess what? Our families are not well fed. They will take it up on the streets. That will create instability in our country. So why in the hell would our people forget this effort? Not because I'm a diaspora, in diaspora, that's why I'm speaking this. I'm trying to be fair to everyone. But I think diaspora should have been given even one region, like how they divide the region, one should be allocated for diasporans. Diasporans should have a representation in the parliament. Diasporans should be able to vote. Diasporans should be able to run for office. So you are telling me that if you are a dual citizen, like for United States, and you become a president, so you would put United States interest over your interest. You have to give up your citizenship to become a Gambian president. Just because if you stay as dual citizenship, United States will corrupt you. Guess what? United States can corrupt you even if you've never been a citizen of United States. They have done it to many African leaders. The West can corrupt you even you are not a citizen of those countries. So what we have to understand is that that mentality is really a betrayal kind of mentality. We should understand that there are some people in the diaspora who are more patriotic than even people living in the Gambia or people running for office. So it depends on the individual. Give everybody a chance, let them vote and let them run for office, and the Gambian people will decide who they trust, who has the capability, who can deliver. I think that's what we have to look at. I think that the National Assembly should go and make sure that the diaspora is well represented, because the citizens have spoken. I have nothing to take away. If they want diaspora to be excluded completely from this whole thing, it's left to them. But it's not a good. It's kind of like not being grateful for the effort that the diasporas are doing. Yeah, go ahead, Baldeh.
I think the point here should be, I actually agree with the drafters or the suggestions about the diaspora, the issue of you have to renounce your citizenship to become the Gambian president. I think it's fair. The point here that you should, I think my suggestion, in my humble suggestion, is you will not be sworn in as the president of the Gambia unless you renounce your citizenship. Maybe you can take part, you understand? Because the thing is, it is a catch-22 situation, like Sam said earlier. Because one, you cannot throw in the towel, you cannot renounce your citizenship and then take part in the election. Who tells you that you are going to win? So the point here is, it is not for you to renounce your citizenship when you are running for election, because there is no assurance that you are going to win. The point here is, you will still have the dual citizenship, take part in the elections, but once you win, because when you win, it's not that the next day you are going to State House. There are procedures. Maybe within a month, you should renounce your citizenship. That you cannot be sworn in as president of the Gambia without renouncing your citizenship. If you don't renounce it, you are not going to be sworn in, and there will be re-election.
Okay, but Baldeh, what I'm trying to say here?
Yes.
Why would we alienate our citizen like that? Just because somebody is a dual citizenship doesn't mean. The question that the Gambian people, what we don't understand is that just because Baldeh is an American citizen doesn't mean Baldeh would have, an ill will when it comes to Gambian interest. The reason why Baldeh is running for office because he wants to bring change in the Gambia. So that doesn't require you to renounce that. It doesn't make sense.
So should I help here now?
No. Go ahead. Jump in the debate. Go ahead, Baldeh. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I disagree. You should not, a president of a country, especially Africa, you should not have dual citizenship, either in Europe or America, because
Why?
these are the, I stand to be corrected, the most developed zones of the world, where when you come to issue of foreign policy, no, it's dangerous for a president of a nation to have dual citizenship. Honestly, yeah, you can have dual citizenship, but when you come to the issue of president, because you really have to decide decisions of life and death. You really have to decide very, very decisions, hard decisions, tough choices.
But
So you cannot be
what about
a president of the Gambia when you are a citizen of Germany. When
okay? What about
that one, I
other
really
political?
support
What
it.
about other political? What about other offices like ministers and so forth? What is the difference? What about ministers and so forth?
No, the difference. Ministers don't have are not assertive. Ministers are not even elected. Ministers are appointed. So ministers don't hold power, are not influential. Apart from
Go ahead.
the leverage they
Okay,
enjoy in
Alas
and
and
the
this thing
fact
can
that
go ahead.
the traveling of
Alas and
power
this thing can go
travel
ahead.
here and
I have a call. I think I have a caller. One second. One second.
Mr.
Hello.
Sawaneh, I think
Hello.
Miss.
Yes. One second. Yeah, I have a caller here who want to contribute. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
totally agree
Very correct.
with things you guys are lamenting about the constitution.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, that's good, but I think that provision is okay. But then I think what we should be very worried about is how best we, the diaspora, would get to Gambia and dedicate them, onto their rights. I think this is some of the things that is important, because to be honest with you, it's like a win-win situation. Like the other guy mentioned, how about if you relieve your citizenship somewhere else, and then you go and start to election? How about if you don't win? What will happen?
Exactly.
That's another issue. So really, I think we should be getting more to our people on the ground, because I mean, most of us will not go and stay there. We'll only go and visit and come back. So we should get them. We should really educate them, for them to know their rights, and for them to know really who they are going to vote for. That's my little contribution.
What's your name?
Lamin Jaju.
Lamin Jaju. And where are you at?
I'm at New York. In New York. We've met before once. Children in school.
Okay. All right. So you guys are the panelists. You had Lamin Jaju, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any question for him or anything? Anybody wanna take before he leaves?
Yeah, I think that very well. So the points you noted are very, very important, because the thing is, most of you in the diaspora, or most of us are in the diaspora, hardly go to the Gambia. So when we go, it's mostly ceremonial. And like I said, my point here, well, I mean, being president of a country, actually, I stand to be corrected. I wouldn't actually want a president of an African country, especially Gambia, to have dual citizenship. No.
Yeah, I give you right, Mr. Baldeh, because I think it's a fair game.
Thank you.
Either I want to, because even here in Europe, they are going to ask for the same thing. They ask us when we come from Africa to stay here, to give our citizenship. It's also their laws, And to be factual, I think it's the best thing. When you are ready to eat akara, I come back to point. Yeah, you cannot just say A. Here in Germany, we say when you say A, you have to say B. So it's almost like when I say when you want akara, you should also want pepper. So it's the same thing here. If I say I want to be the president of the Gambia, do I mean it just to go and finance myself? Do I need it to go and represent my people? You know, do I need to go and die for my land, my people? So in that case, I think it wouldn't be a problem to give away your European or American citizenship. I think we have to see the truth here in the eyes. You know, I would not say I want to be a president just to go and enjoy the luxuries. You know, that's our problem in Gambia, general. You know, we'll say president, but for ourselves, but not for the people. And being a president, you have to be for the people, and less for yourself. I've seen a president who is voted to be a president. He said, "No, I'm not going to the state house. I'm going to stay where I was." He's staying still in his own place and driving still his own car. So in Africa, you'll dream of that, to have such a president. Why? Because he means he's having the heart for the people. You understand? Not for the money to be president, but for the people. So that's the way we have to think also. I mean, if I say I would not be a president, I don't even want to, because when I'm a president, I know that I'll be killed very quickly. So I don't want it. You know? So, but it's fair enough. When you say you want to be the president of the Gambia, you have to be a full Gambian. In this case, I agree to it also. So, in other things, that has nothing to do with citizenship. If I want to be a minister, if I want to be a general director, I don't know. That is just an application thing. Before they employ a foreigner, maybe they employ you. The Gambia has to win something better. So that is another different thing. Even if you to vote, you can vote without losing your citizenship. We can do all these things, then it's okay. But when you want to be a president, I support Mr. Baldeh and any other, and I think when we are true to ourselves, it's the best way.
Okay. All right, Sam, what's your take on that?
Well,
thank you, Alice.
This is a good debate, and thank you for thanks to all of you for your comments in there. I personally think that is not fair to the people in diaspora, because we're dealing with a group of people, not one person. If it's one person, that's one thing. How many thousands of Gambians are in the diaspora? And another thing we have to think about, even if you get a dual citizenship anywhere, you're always gonna have your place of birth is always gonna be Gambia. Gambia is your place of birth, and that's your country. That's your home country. In my view, I don't think it matters that much, because even if you're a dual citizenship and you become a president of the Gambia, I don't think it will make a whole lot of difference, because that's where you were born. That's where most of your people, your relatives are. You are going to take the country at heart and run the country the way it needs to be, so that allow yourself to run for your 2 terms. First term, if you win, you go for a second term. If you, and when you finish your second term, you should have the ability to decide where you want to live and retire. So giving up your citizenship, yes, you can still visit the other countries, but you may not be able to stay there for too long. So that's the disadvantage of that. But I understand Baldeh's point too. If you are to, if they wait until you win and say denounce your citizenship over there, that's fair enough. Yeah. That's fair enough.
So that's fair enough. I don't think Baldeh, many people really got that from the Constitution. So it's good to highlight that point. Thank you for that. And that's why it's important for this kind of discussion, because sometimes we all read stuff, but we don't actually get that. Yeah, but if definitely you are getting sworn in, at that time, I don't think you wanna live in another country, because you wanna lead that nation and then leave your legacy so that you can stay there and enjoy all the luxury that you ever need. So at that point, that is a done deal. Now, go ahead, Baldeh. What do you want to say?
No, yeah, because the point is, once you win, you already know where you are heading. But if you lose now, you renounce your citizenship, so it becomes a very bitter pill to swallow.
No, I think that deal is a good deal. Now, the thing that I want to highlight before we go, and I know we are on the time here. Have you guys seen the presentation by the not by the finance minister, the health minister Sawaneh? It is the most emotional deliberation that I've ever seen in my lifetime. And this is to show you guys that definitely we have good Gambians who are in the interest.
Yep.
For him to stand up there and say that they went over the list and see people's name appearing multiple times, I think, and try to ask for another list, and there's the same people for this allowance. Once there is 500 million on the table, and we have to really commend Samate, and we need more Samates in the Gambia, because for us to really challenge and beat this, defeat corruption, we have to have people. That's why I said I used to believe that the problem of our country is the people. The people make the presidents to go in any direction. I used to believe that, but until after 2 weeks ago, I started to realize it's not the people, it's the leader. Because I have looked through history, countries that are bad, people are bad. They kill each other. They did all kind of thing. When they got the good leader, you know what? He starts from himself and enforce it. I think Gambian is missing enforcement since Jawara's time up to today. Jawara was a good man. Yeah, okay, he was a good man, less corrupt than any of these leaders.
He was a great man.
Great man.
Yep.
I can say. But he wasn't able to enforce.
Yep.
He wasn't able to enforce. He was less corrupt.
Yep.
If he had the enforcement power, every
No,
Gambians will be close to corruption free. So
Sawaneh.
that was one of the problems. And then another thing is that he was not, technologically driven like other leaders during those days. So that's why the infrastructure wasn't there as it would have been. Now, again, Jawara has a great legacy. I don't want to take that out. I don't want us to, be blindsided of that. But I'm just saying to you, we could have moved to another level beyond that if the leader himself could have it in him. That's why I'm saying, right now, the Gambia is not about the citizen. It's about the leader. Look at Rwanda. Look at other countries that are bad. People are bad. They hate each other. They used to kill each other. But when new leadership came with innovation and vision and with agenda, listen, it's nothing wrong to be dictator sometime. If you can get the job done and for the interest of the nation, hey, so be it. So be it. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and say Samada's revelation was really touching, and I think it sets an eye on the fact that our people are still very corrupt. They are in the system. Borough government hasn't flushed them away. They're still there doing their dirty tricks. So it's up to us as citizens to hold them accountable. It's up to our National Assembly to hold them accountable. That's why I recommend the Anti-Corruption Board to be introduced as soon as possible to take care of this kind of people. And Alex is shaking his head. He probably agree with that. But go ahead, Baldeh. Go ahead and Alex then.
No, the thing is, Sawaneh,
Mhm.
in as much as we upload or clap for Samate, but some of the revelations he made there should not be new to some of us. Remember, in 2017, in 2018, there was an audit embarked upon by the Personal Management Office. I think it was spearheaded or driven by the Office of the President to audit government offices, and workers. You know how many ghost workers were discovered? Thousands of ghost workers were discovered. And these ghost workers, to simplify it, were people who, some of them died several years ago, but government was still paying them. And where was the money going? To certain people. And there was also workers who were fictitious, like when you say Momodou Sawaneh, is posted in Basse, but there's no Momodou Sawaneh.
Yeah, there's no money.
So what what somebody revealed was just, to me, it wasn't, there was no, it wasn't a kind of news to me, because I was privileged, or, I understood, how the PMO census, audit was carried along, and the report was submitted to Secretary General, and I think recommendations were made. So why is this becoming a recurrent problem? I think Sawaneh is saddled, or has found himself in like a crocodile pool infested with so many crocodiles. And for him, a lot of people, of course, since yesterday, some of us really want him to resign. I know, yes, there are some who are arguing the fact that, he shouldn't resign, he should sanitize the system. But I don't think he's going to succeed in doing it, because since this 500 million was allocated, he has been talking about it. Some people, he said money, money, money. The same minister is going to be further frustrated with, even by going to the National Assembly, unless there are drastic reforms, wholesome reforms from the top. Otherwise, he can only enjoy being a crybaby, complaining, and in the end, people will, he's going to be further frustrated by the very people who are not clean, corrupt, and then engaging in very shady deals. So that's why, for me, he brilliantly came to the National Assembly and then made a startling revelation about how, efforts are being directed at him, or how his efforts have been hampered by unscrupulous set of people who are hell-bent on getting money by all means necessary. So the bottom line is either he receives support from the top, or some people at the top may not be comfortable with him making those revelations, and then, as usual, place is to repackage him and deploy him to the Foreign Service as a dumping ground or a policing ground.
Yeah, you're right, Mr. Baldeh.
Thank you. Thank you. So that brings us to the end of this program, as it is allocated for an hour. I think, Balde, you have made a sound point there, and of course, Alice, have you what is your thought on Samate's case?
Yeah, I've been saying all the time that I give great respect to Mr. Samateh. I've been observing him since, and he's showing that, as you said, we need people, and he's also one of them. When we can get more Samatehs in the Gambia and all ministries, I think they can help the Gambians to go forward. And his speech is a reaction. It's a cry because he, as Balde mentioned, it's a little bit of frustration. I know that it's a life for him very different from his style. That's why. But for many people, it's a daily living. You understand? So the thing is, either you are righteous, you are afraid of God, and you are a clean person, or you are corrupt, you are not afraid of God, and you can cheat Gambians. So these are two ways. Either you take one or two. I know that he is alone on his journey, because we all know Gambia, which is very sad. So I would not be surprised when Mr. Ceesay is saying, why are we 50 years back? That is also one of the points. If we don't try to see that in our eyes and not be afraid of talking about it, which is also our problem. The fact that we should ask ourselves, why are politicians not talking about corruption? That answers your question. Why are people ashamed to talk about corruption? That answers your question. Why are people fearing of this topic? That answers your question. I don't want to show finger or say anything. So we have to ask ourselves, why are we running away from this topic? What is the matter? That will answer our question. You understand? They used to say also, I don't want to accuse anybody, if you go to a compound, everybody is dancing, they know that the compound owner is at the drums. You know, it's an African proverb. It's an African proverb.
Yeah.
Oh, so I think that means the head should try and take action, drastic action, and show the people, I am like this, and I don't want anybody to be like that. You understand? But those things, you can only do it by imposing certain laws, like you bringing this anti-corruption board, which we were talking about since day one. Now we're going towards 2021. Gambia have a lot of money, what people cannot believe. Our problem is when it comes, it's gone.
Right.
You understand? So being ahead, I have to be careful. And our last topic, I said it, we don't have any end control. And that is our weak point. That's where everything goes out again. Mr. Sawaneh knows that. Just that he cannot do anything. Normally, in fact, it's not even his job. It's the job of the finance minister and then the anti-corruption board to take care of these things so that he can sleep in peace. But these are not happening in the Gambia. So how can this person live in peace? You know, at the beginning, he knows why he said, I don't want to do anything with the money. Let us look for a commission who are going to take care of it. You know, these are all just to secure the amount what is going for health. At the same time, he is seeing what is being happening. That's why he is reacting like this. Because if I am not ready to eat $1 from this money, I'll be angry when I see people eating $10 now from it or not. And in Gambia, it's a daylight problem. It's a daylight problem. People doing that, our biggest mistake are the people are praising. Gambians are praising. They are praising somebody who is putting them in their situation. So the fact that they don't understand why they are in this situation, why they are crying, there is a problem. Then they show fingers to others who has nothing to do with it. Also, we say, God did it to me, which is not fair because God gave everybody brain to fight his, or to know who is cheating me and who is not cheating me. But not somebody cheating the whole Gambia. Give me $5, see, I try to praise that person without knowing that this $5 is even mine as a Gambian citizen. You know, because just people don't understand their rights, as I used to say. But but I give a big respect to this person, and we need more of it. You know, normally that's why I said at the beginning, I was expecting even from the parliamentarians, apart from these Doi people, that others also stand there and talk like Mr. Sawaneh as a minister. Thank you.
All right. So before we leave, we just have a few comments here. I just want to read out to you guys. Ebrima Baldeh said all Gambia must support Sawaneh and root out corruption in the Gambia for the good of the country. So I agree on that, and I believe you guys agree on that, right?
We need more of them, more Sawanes and insofar.
Okay. We have Mr. Lamin Jata said, indeed, visionary leadership is a key to changing the direction and the mind of the people. I think that's also, something that we can agree on, correct? Yeah. And also, Mr. I have Ibite here saying that as a president, you must have no dual citizenship. That is a divided loyalty. One can have dual citizenship for other portfolio, not president. I think we answered that, right? Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So this is good. Now, what we have to look at, is that New Gambia platform. Again, I want to thank everyone for contributing to donating the Red Cross for COVID-19 relief. It was very successful. We have many people in the platform and outside the platform who donated for this cause. We collected about 1,200 $1,225. $1,225. That's a very big success, and most of the fundings come from the members of the platforms and also outside. So the money collected, Red Cross bought some rice, and then they also delivered some rice oil and things of that nature to other places. So this is not all about having to we just only come here to the show and then give you sensitize you, but we also have people with heart who goes out there and then help the community. So I definitely have to commend everyone for that gesture. I would play you this video right now for our viewers to see, and probably we'll post it if in a few minutes, in a few days. I will share my screen. Sorry. Can everybody see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay, so these are some of the things that we have donated to Red Cross. One of our guy was there. It went to a good cause. This was a good one, and then we have another picture. Video of presentation. I don't know if you guys hear the voice audio?
Yeah. Yeah, we
No.
can see them.
Can you hear the
voice is
audio?
not. No, not the
No.
audio.
Yeah.
You cannot hear the audio, right?
Not yet. No.
Huh?
No.
Okay. All right. So, but just to
But we can see. Yeah, great
you
job.
can hear it, right?
Good job.
Okay. So
At least. Yeah, we are hearing, but acoustic is a little bit bad. It's breaking.
You can hear it, right?
No, but a little bit noisy.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it's a non-political, non-profit organization. These are Gambians who came together to see only Gambia. Politics, of course, sometimes cause in forum, but it doesn't mean that that's our target. Can you hear Alice? Our target is to Gambia together. Good. And then we are so happy that we have also contributed our quarter for the national development. And on behalf of the organization, I would appeal to the Gambia government to recognize this group, to recognize this association, because we are there for the Gambia and the Gambians. I am not here to give any long speech, but being a member of the association, it's very important for witnesses and show for the donors that whatever they have contributed is going for the right things. But you can see, rice is here, oil is here, sugar is here. Those are the best commodities that we need in the Gambia, especially at this period of COVID-19. So I thank all the donors who ever contributed to this big event, a success in life and hereafter. And I would encourage the rest of the members to please come forward. We're still in the type of COVID-19. It's not over yet. Please come forward. This is real. This is not a claim. This is real. So these food items that you have donated will take a long way to help people back home in the Gambia here. So on behalf of the Gambia platform, I thank everyone, and I thank the staff of Red Cross for taking the responsibility to distribute the purchase or whatever they're doing to make make sure these items get to the right places. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Mr. Vice.
No, it's okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So so this sorry, Sam was waiting for a little bit. I didn't know. So
Okay, so
yeah, sorry about that, Sam. We just did a presentation on that. Sorry. So these are all things that we're talking about New Gambia platform. Sam, you are part of this, you know. So these are all videos. They have more things in the back. They couldn't bring everything outside, but again, $1,225 has been collected by New Gambia platform members and people, you know, outside. Thank you for your generosity. We just don't come here to sensitize you guys about, you know, our country and then the things that we believe in, and then civically, but we also, you know, give helping hands as well. So thank you guys for that. Yeah, but this is what we are.
yeah.
So, guys, so I think we exhausted the topic of discussion, and we can wrap it up. It's about an hour and a half, so I think it's fair enough for viewers to actually take a break and then kind of digest what we've been talking about, and then we are next same time. Any final thought?
Okay. When
Me? I'm sorry, I disconnected for some reason. My computer just went down, and you know, when you were talking, sound, and I thought it was from your side, and apparently mine went down. So, but anyway, so I missed the other part that I wanted to say something about. But
go ahead before we conclude.
I know we're running out. It comes to Dr. Sawaneh's state.
Yeah, go ahead.
And you know what he made in the parliament was really something that's amazing. This is what we expect from a good citizen of the Gambia. If everyone can be just like him, our country will be corruption free, and corruption has been the biggest thing that holds us behind. And in my mind, if something like this is happening in a country, if I were in the National Assembly, what I would say is we should think about really impeaching the president by saying, with a vote of no confidence, just because if he can't control this and let this go all over, to me, it just looked like, it's just like vultures looking to land on a dead animal, just like that. Vultures all up there, they're all scanning and trying to look on a dead animal. As soon as the dead animal gets there, they all want to get their piece out of it. And this is not for the vultures. These are not for the vultures. This money, these funds are for the Gambian people. It's really to help with COVID-19 and also, help with our country. But if people want to take that money and put it in their own pocket, and president has not gotten out today and fire people right and left, and if I were in the National Assembly, I'll go for vote of no confidence that he cannot run this country. That's the way I look at things. The leader should be a leader and should be up there and stand very firm to fight these people, these bad people that are making him look bad. It may not be him, but he is the one that needs to come out and say, you know what, this is not going to happen on my watch. You're gone, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone. And even anybody that takes money out of this, get them arrested and take them to prison. Take them to court. And if they get sentenced, they get sentenced to prison. This is how you set an example. We should not let Sawaneh should not have been in the National Assembly revealing all of this there as a whistleblower. But anyway, that's my take on that.
he's just frustrated. We can understand.
Yeah, he's frustrated because it's the same
when
thing.
You stay there,
yeah,
and seeing such things going on, and they are doing it to your own people, I could say.
Exactly.
I would see. I think the same way, because I don't want anybody to do Gambians harm.
Exactly.
So when you are a patriot, you cannot allow such things. That's why people who are corrupt trying to say that they love Gambia, they are telling lies.
Yeah, exactly.
They are telling lies. They don't love Gambia.
They don't.
If you have Gambia at heart, look, people are trying to spend something.
Yep.
sending it to Gambia. So if you have Gambia at heart, you should not steal that.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's just to be real.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So
yeah.
they can. I cannot be corrupt and say I love my country.
No way.
Telling a lie.
Yep. Exactly right.
Baldeh, what do you say?
Well, I still maintain my point. That is on two conditions. Number one, he has become the whistleblower he is. If there is no support from the top,
yep,
effective Monday, tomorrow,
exactly,
let him consider resigning, because he cannot walk in the midst of infested a pool that is infested with crocodiles. They are going to devour him.
They've been doing that since, but I think he's a brave man. He knew that.
Option B is the government will not sack him because you don't sack a whistleblower. Okay? They redeploy him and dump him to the foreign service. Like they
yeah, that's the problem.
So I think in that case it's going back to the house because
that's bad leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in that case somebody likes to work in the hospital. So
if I am fair and being a president, I stand behind such people.
No.
If I am not fair, then I will make sure that such people are weak. But I understand Baldeh, that is the whole time the same procedure. That's why it's no surprise what Baldeh is saying. Another Gambian is saying that too, because people are seeing it every day. You know? So why are we in a country where corrupt people have some more to say? We have to ask ourselves.
Yeah.
I think Baldeh, you guys made a very important point. If he's not getting support from the top, then he should consider he should worry about his life, because the way Gambia works is like if you have all these people, they want money. And they want you, either in any way or means. So under this, I'm not getting support from the top. And I'm fighting for my country. I mean, I'm not getting anything there. So what the heck? I will just resign, because somebody don't need that position. I can tell you that now. I'm not a relative of him. I just know him as a person, but he is well equipped with his profession, and he loves the hospital.
So,
but Mr. Sawaneh, any other place?
Being a minister is doing a favor for us Gambians to come and demonstrate how a citizen with good heart should be, and he has demonstrated that. So if I were him, if I'm not getting any support from the top, like you guys said, I'll just resign. I'll call the president and say, "Give me my resignation number," because these crocodiles cannot destroy my life.
Yeah, but Mr. Sawaneh, it's not a joke.
Sawaneh.
Sawaneh.
Yes,
Now you are
Mr. Too.
Mr. Sawaneh on Sawaneh. Mr. Sawaneh.
I know.
Mr. Sawaneh. You are not yet a minister.
Just wait. Gambian poster boy.
Can come later. Just say Amin. What I wanted to say, Mr. Sawaneh was experiencing this not just yesterday, and not just because of the COVID-19. He knew that first day. These are the first things he saw. You understand? And they tried to do him everything, but he loves his country and doing his work. He's not afraid. That's why he went to the parliament and even talked his mind, which is very seldom to see our people doing that, because they are not clean. They even avoid that topic. You understand? That's why when I say I give great respect to this man, I know why. Because I'm observing them. You understand? Even in the parliament, they are trying very hard, as Baldeh said and so. But I could just count some people who used to talk about even going to this direction. You can count them. It's not even a handful. And there's a big disgrace. What Mr. Sawaneh did should not have been his job. That should have been the daily topic in the parliament. But why not? Why not? We have to ask always ourselves, why is this? Then we always try to get the answer without even discussing. People should wake themselves. People should be awake. It's high time. But always to do as if, because my uncle is stealing, because it's my uncle, so it's normal. This mentality of corruption that is killing us.
Yep. And
So
you know, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead until you finish.
no, I mean we have to change this mentality. You know, we have to be fair to ourselves.
Yeah.
We know that it's a poor place, you know. So why should we allow some people to gather everything and building their stories? The next person is going to Serekunda market, having only 2 tomatoes in the hand, hoping to sell it to go and feed his family. We are all Gambians. Why should it go that way? You know, we should not use the illiteracy of the people to cheat them, you know, or their intelligence to cheat them. You know, just because one knows how to cheat others, that should also not happen. You know, but people have to open their eyes. That's why we have elections. They should know the reason why they go for election. They should know the use of their voting cards, because that's the only way they can find their own rights.
Right.
You know? That is
okay.
where I always focus to. They have to understand their democratic rights and the use of their voting cards. Not voting today, tomorrow trying making noise. I'm against that.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah. Mr. Ceesay, let's wrap it up. Yep.
You know, this is it's just been coming in my mind as Alice was talking. I think, you know, for Samate to resign is not going to be the solution to our problem.
No.
He is a good role model. We need to keep him in the government. And just like Baldeh said, if the president doesn't come out, the leadership doesn't come out tomorrow, Monday, and support him and do something about this, to me, that will look like the leadership is part of the problem. And that's where the National Assembly need to take action. Leadership need to support Samate because he's a role model. He's an example. He blew the whistle and showed what was happening in there that need to be corrected, because he cannot work under those conditions. If he resigns, we're going to lose a very good person. And that does not still solve our problem. The problem is going to get worse. So what leadership needs to do is get all the evidences and start terminating people. Gambia needs example. Somebody needs to set example, and that's the leader. The president is the one that needs to set an example. Terminate these people, fire them all, get them all out of there, and get the right people in there to move this country forward. If not, I can guarantee, if Samate resigns, we continue on this, it's going to get worse. They're going to take all of that money and use it for themselves and build their houses and homes and mansions. And Gambian people are going to look at that as, this is our major problem. This corruption seems to be more than anything that they've seen. So therefore, 2021 election, they're not going to vote for him. They will not. So this is not good for the president. The president need to come out and set an example by doing an immediate investigation into this, immediate investigation, and get an answer within a week and get rid of people. So that's the way I look at it. Like I said, if not, then the president will be part of the problem, and the National Assembly needs to take it from there. That's all I can say.
All right. Baldeh, your final take.
Well, you guys have exhausted everything. Like Sam said, I like his proposition. You know, it is very good. I think from the get-go, when Sawaneh blew the whistle, the president should have started taking notes and make so even actions should have started from yesterday, and then tomorrow, Monday, the wheels of would have been moving. Honestly, it should not die down. It's the wheels will be blown at the National Assembly, and then it becomes it gathers dust. At the end of the day, they just say, someone said this, and then what is going to happen is, if actions are not taken, they are further going to frustrate Samate to an extent that he will either resign, or right now he will not be fired, because then when he's fired, it means then
it will be a retaliation, and retaliation is against the law.
Yeah.
If he gets fired, that's retaliation, and that's against the law.
But what they can do is to maybe, like I said, dump him to the foreign service. You don't have to be you don't have to, because you are a medical practitioner, you don't have to say you are a medical practitioner, you are not supposed to be an ambassador or maybe deputy ambassador. You don't need qualification to be an ambassador. You know, just have your basic educational school, learn how to read and write. So that is it.
No, but we need somebody in.
We need him.
Edward Francis Hospital. Okay, so now let's see what the president's office will do on Monday. And see like if there will be any action. But if there's no action, then that means he's gonna be accountable moving forward. Because
but why should there be even action? Because it's normal for a real Gambian, to stand anywhere and say his opinion. We are in a democratic world.
No.
Action.
Action on those people being
crocodiles.
Those corrupt.
I call them the vultures.
I mean that one I cannot say anything. That is his job. Because if I say I want to be a president, I should be responsible for everything. So that is his job.
That's what I'm saying. Like
he should do something.
Like Baldeh said, since the whistle is blown, now it's up to the president's hand to see what he has to investigate, and also the parliament as well. So I think with that, we have definitely exhausted these two topics. Guys, you guys have been great. I mean, like I learned a lot, and I'm pretty sure we all learn, and then people
learn from each other.
Next
yeah,
time,
we do.
Probably next time we'll have more people calling. We're gonna encourage them to call and contribute. That will be very helpful. And definitely we are here. We are not here to be one-sided. Although some people would think that why do we talk about the president or the executive and the parliament? Because these are the people that we voted for, and we are holding them accountable than other politicians who are not in office yet. So people have to understand that it's not about being against the government or being against the president. We admire our leaders. We respect them. That's why we debate fairly here. We are not party affiliated, but when we come here, even if we have a party in mind that we support, when we come here, we take the hat off. We look at the issues as it is presented and then critically analyze them to the best of our knowledge. So I thank these folks here. They have dedicated their time for the country and for humanity as well. Moving forward, we're not only going to talk about the Gambian issues, but we talk about humanity as general, so that our audience can be more extended outside the Gambian, so that people, because I've seen some people watching that who are not Gambians. So if we have the opportunity, since we are doing weekly show now, moving forward, so we might touch areas, environment, and other educative areas that are not, Gambian centric. So I want everybody, we're gonna, discuss those things on our group chat and come up with ideas whereby people can learn, and then we can learn from them. So I thank you guys for having this wonderful time for this. So
thank you all.
Mr. Baldeh, Sawaneh.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. See you next week. The same time.
Thank you. Yep, thank you.
The same time, 11 o'clock New York time, and 3 o'clock Gambian time or GMT time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.